while black people have been living in Canada for hundreds of years, the month of February was designated as Black History Month in 1995. But one woman, right here, Wilma Morrison, who grew up in Hamilton, was ahead of the game when it comes to preserving and sharing the story of black Canadians. Here's Wilma Morrison celebrating her 88th birthday inside the Nathaniel Dett Chapel in Niagara Falls, a structure that, without her help, would have been torn down. For the London, Ontario native, stepping up was just in her blood. Even in her teen years, growing up in Hamilton, Morrison knew she and other black Canadians were outcasts and she had to act. Close family friend Aileen Duncan remembers one particular incident when Wilma and her friends tried to go bowling in downtown Hamilton.
When they got there, when the owners had seen that it was a group of black kids, they refused to let them in. So Wilma being Wilma, she didn't have a problem in starting a protest there.
In a documentary about her life, Morrison said it wasn't until she took part in celebrations to mark the end of World War II that she finally got a sense of what equality felt like.
Everybody met in downtown Hamilton, and everyone was hugging and kissing each other. And it was the one time in my life that I felt that I was much a part of the general community.
Even when she tried to better herself for that community, it turned its back.
Decided that I would try to get into nursing, and that wasn't available. The hospitals weren't ready for black nurses at that time.
Eventually, Morrison got her chance.
She was one of the first black women here in Hamilton who actually trained at the General Hospital.
Healthcare wasn't Morrison's only passion. Decades before Canada officially recognized February as Black History Month, Wilma had a drive to keep her people's story front and center.
Every time I seen her, she was always talking about history.
When living in Niagara Falls, Wilma had history in her own backyard. The Nathaniel Dett Chapel, built in 1814, was a meeting place for slaves who escaped to Canada from the U.S. through the Underground Railroad.
She was, I guess you could say, the custodian. She was everything at Nathaniel Dett BME Church in Niagara Falls.
And when the church was threatened to be sold and demolished, Morrison knew it was time to step up again.
Suddenly, the decision was made to sell the church. And that sort of made me spring into action because it's the only thing that's left in this community that says we've been a presence here for over 200 years.
Wilma fought hard for the church, setting up a small library filled with black history, eventually called the Norval Johnson Heritage Library. She also received $5,000 from the Ontario Historical Society. The church was eventually named a designated historical site in 2000. Wilma's passion for history was so strong, she had to share it with others through the Niagara Freedom Trail Tours.
Used to have bus loads come up from the States just to see the black history in Niagara Falls and Fort Erie, going into Niagara-on-the-Lake.
Her steadfast dedication to maintaining black history was commemorated with the Black Military History of Niagara traveling exhibit.
They have one room which is just dedicated to the black soldiers, going back to the War of 1812, the First and Second World War.
Morrison died in 2020. The exhibit is dedicated to her name. The Norval Johnson Heritage Library that Wilma started, still around. It's moved to the St. Catharines Public Library. Go check it out.